Good evening. Let your body sink a little deeper into wherever you are resting right now. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench just a little. There is nothing to decide tonight, nothing to calculate, no form to fill out, no deadline looming, no number you need to remember in the morning. You are allowed to simply be here. Tonight, we are going to talk about money, but not the anxious kind of money talk. Not the kind where you add things up in your head at 2 in the morning and feel that familiar tightening in your chest. We are going to talk about the other kind, the quiet kind, the kind where the work is already done and you are simply resting while everything moves gently forward on its own. Let that settle for a moment. The idea we are exploring tonight is this. What if your finances could run on their own, like a slow river, steady and unhurried while you sleep? That is not a fantasy. It is something real and something within reach, and we are going to walk through it together slowly, with no rush at all. Take one slow breath and let us begin. There is a kind of tiredness that has nothing to do with sleep. It comes from making too many small decisions. Every day, your mind is asked to choose what to eat, what to wear, what to say, what to do next. By evening, something in you is worn down, even if you cannot quite name it. Money is no different. Every time you wonder whether to save this month or wait, whether to move money into a savings account or leave it where it is, whether to set up that investment or come back to it later, every one of those moments costs you something. Not money, energy, attention, a little piece of your peace. And the strange thing is, most of those decisions are not hard. They are just frequent. And frequent decisions, even easy ones, add up to a heavy load. There is a term for this in psychology: decision fatigue. The more choices you face, the worse you become at making them. The mind starts to look for shortcuts. It delays. It avoids. It says, "Not tonight. I will do it later." And later stretches out like a long, dim corridor. This is not a character flaw. It is simply how human minds work. And automation is the answer to it, not because it makes you smarter or more disciplined, but because it quietly removes the decision from your hands. It says, you do not need to think about this one. It is already handled. You can rest. That is worth sitting with build a financial system that runs on its own. You are not cheating. You are not being lazy. You are being wise in the oldest sense of the word. You are doing the hard thinking once, setting things in motion, and then trusting the motion to carry on without you. Let your eyes soften. Breathe slowly. We are in no hurry. You have probably heard this phrase before. Pay yourself first. It sounds simple, almost too simple, and yet most people do the opposite without ever meaning to. Here is what usually happens. The money comes in, then the bills come out. The rent, the utilities, the subscriptions, the groceries, then the social things, the dinners, the small purchases that feel harmless on their own. And then at the end of the month, whatever is left, if anything is left, gets saved. But what is left is often very little, or nothing at all. And so the saving never quite happens. Not because the person is careless, but because saving was placed last in the order of things. Paying yourself first simply reverses that order. The moment money arrives, before you spend a single thing, a portion moves quietly into savings or investment. Not what is left over, not what you can spare after everything else. A portion from the top, decided in advance, moved automatically. The rest of your life then adjusts to what remains. And it does adjust. Humans are remarkably adaptable when the option to do otherwise is removed. If there is less in the account, you spend a little less. You do not even feel it much, because the adjustment happens gradually, naturally, like water finding its level. This is the heart of the whole idea. Not willpower, not discipline, subtraction before temptation. Think of it like this. Imagine every month a bucket of water arrives at your door. If you drink from it freely throughout the day, by evening it is often empty. But if someone quietly pours a portion into a separate jar the moment it arrives, before you ever see it, before you ever have the chance to use it, that jar fills slowly, steadily, month after month, until one day it is full and something has been built. That is all paying yourself first means. A portion quietly set aside before the rest is touched. And when this happens automatically, without your intervention, without a decision each month, without willpower, the jar fills whether you thought about it or not. That is a beautiful thing. Let us walk through the practical shape of this, gently, without getting too tangled in fine details. Most banks and most savings platforms will allow you to set up what is called a recurring transfer. You choose an amount, you choose a date, and every time that date arrives, money moves from one place to another quietly, without asking your permission again. That is the whole mechanism. It is not complicated. It is almost boring in the best way. You might set up a transfer to happen the same day your pay arrives, or the day after, to let the full amount land first. The exact timing matters less than the consistency. You might have one transfer going to a savings account, a place where money accumulates for larger expenses, a trip, a repair, a cushion against uncertainty. You might have another transfer going toward a long-term investment, a place where money will sit for many years, growing quietly in the background. These do not need to be large amounts. The amount is not the main thing, especially at the beginning. The habit is the main thing. The system is the main thing. A small automatic transfer that happens every month without fail is worth more than a large manual transfer that happens once and then is forgotten for 6 months while you mean to get back to it. Consistency compounds. Not just the money, the habit itself deepens. The muscles of saving strengthen even when you are not flexing them, simply because the action keeps occurring. And over time, as your income grows or your expenses shift, you can adjust the amounts. You can review the system once a year or whenever something big changes. But in between those reviews, it runs on its own. Think of it like a clock you have wound. You do the winding once, then the clock keeps time. You do not stand beside it pushing the hands. You simply let it run. That is the gift of automation. The winding takes one afternoon. The running takes years. There is something freeing about this idea if you let yourself feel it. We are often told that saving money requires discipline, that it requires a kind of firmness of character, that people who are good with money have something the rest of us lack, some inner strength, some ability to resist what others cannot. That story is not quite true. People who consistently save and invest are not, on average, more disciplined than anyone else. They have simply built systems that do not require discipline to maintain. They have made the good choice the automatic choice. And once a choice is automatic, willpower is no longer involved. Willpower is a limited resource. It depletes across the day. It weakens under stress, under tiredness, under social pressure. It is not a reliable foundation for a financial life. And that is fine. That is simply being human. But a system does not get tired. A system does not look at its bank account on a Friday night and think, maybe just this once I will skip the transfer. A system does not feel the pull of a new purchase and quietly decide to postpone the savings until next month. A system runs when you remove the decision from your own hands, when you make the good choice once, in a calm moment, and then let it happen without requiring your agreement each time. You are not surrendering control. You are exercising the deepest kind of control. You are your own architect. You design the structure, and then you let the structure work. A river does not decide each morning to flow toward the sea. It has carved its path, and the water follows. The carving was the work. The flowing is effortless. You are doing the carving now, or perhaps you already have. And from here, the flowing can be effortless too. Let your breathing slow. You are doing well. There is a principle in human behavior that is perhaps underappreciated. The default wins. Whatever the default option is, in a form, in a system, in a process, most people accept it. Not because they are lazy, but because changing the default requires a decision, and decisions take energy. Most of the time, we move through the path of least resistance without even noticing we are doing it. This is well understood by companies. It is why subscriptions often auto-renew. It is why pension plans that automatically enroll employees have dramatically higher participation than plans that require you to sign up. The default wins. But you can use this for yourself. When you set up your financial system so that saving is automatic and spending from savings requires an active choice rather than the other way around, you have changed the default. Now, the money accumulates unless you intervene. The river flows toward the sea unless you dam it. That is a different life than one where spending is effortless and saving requires effort. In the old setup, every month you must decide to save. In the new setup, every month money saves itself, and only an active decision can stop it. asymmetry changes everything. Because decisions are tiring, and most months, you simply will not make the decision to intervene. The money will just quietly accumulate in the place you designed for it. Think about the accounts and transfers you have in your life right now. Are the defaults working for you or against you? Have you arranged things so that the path of least resistance leads somewhere good? You do not need to answer that question tonight. Just let it rest in the back of your mind, soft and unhurried. The quieter parts of design are often the most powerful. Every financial life is different. No two people have the same expenses, the same income, the same goals, the same fears. And so automation is not a single template you follow. It is a shape you make for yourself from your own life. Some people find it useful to have several different savings pots. One for the unexpected, the car that breaks down, the medical expense that arrives without warning. One for the medium term, the holiday, the new laptop, the thing you are working toward. One for the long term, the retirement, the quiet life ahead, the years when you will want money to have been quietly building for decades. These do not need to be complicated. A few accounts, each receiving a small automatic transfer, each serving a different purpose. Like different rooms in a house, each with its own function. And you do not need to build all of this at once. You can begin with one thing, one transfer to one account on one specific day. That is a complete beginning. It does not matter how small. What matters is that it is automatic, that it runs without your attention. From one small transfer, the habit forms. From the habit, the system grows. From the system, the peace comes. There is no urgency in this building. You do not need to have it perfectly arranged by next week. Life is long, and a system built slowly, but built well, will serve you for all of it. Let the images of rushing and catching up dissolve. You are not behind. You are simply where you are, and from here, one quiet step is enough. Here is something worth holding tonight in the dark. When your financial system is running on its own, it works for you while you rest. Not in a dramatic way, not in a way you will notice tomorrow morning, but slowly, steadily, in a way that becomes visible over years, and then over decades. The money in a long-term investment account does not stop working at midnight. It does not take weekends off. Compounding has no sleeping hours. While you dream, the small returns on your savings are being added back in, and those small returns will themselves earn returns, and those returns will earn returns too, on and on, in a progression that begins almost invisibly, but eventually becomes something you can feel. Think of a tree. When you plant a seed, nothing seems to happen for a long time. The change is underground. The roots are growing, spreading slowly, building the hidden architecture that will one day support something tall. You cannot see it. You might even wonder if anything is happening at all. But the work is happening, patient and invisible. Your automatic contributions are the planting. The years are the root growing. The future is the tree you will one day stand in the shade of and not quite remember planting, because you planted it so many years ago, quietly and without fuss. That is the life being built tonight while you rest. And you did not need to do anything extraordinary to build it. You simply set up a few transfers, and then you slept. Let your body grow heavier against the mattress. The building continues, even now. There is a particular kind of anxiety that can grow around money if you let it. It is the anxiety of constant checking, of opening the investment app every few days to see if things have moved, of refreshing account balances with a kind of nervous urgency, as if watching will change anything. This anxiety does not help. It does not make things grow faster. It only adds noise to your mind, and noise at night keeps sleep away. When you have built a system you trust, you do not need to watch it constantly. You can check in occasionally, perhaps once a month, or once every few months, to make sure everything is running as intended, to adjust amounts if your circumstances have changed, to make sure nothing unexpected has happened. But this checking is calm. It is maintenance, not monitoring. A gardener checks on the garden not with anxiety, but with gentle curiosity. You look, you appreciate, you adjust if needed, and then you return to other things. There is a wonderful freedom in this. When you know the river is flowing, you do not need to stand on the bank watching it. You can walk away. You can do other things. You can live your life. And when you come back, the river is still there, still flowing, and nothing has changed except that a little more water has reached the sea. Give yourself permission to not look too often. Give yourself permission to trust the system you have built. Trust is not passivity. Trust is the earned reward of having done the work. When you have set up your transfers, established your defaults, arranged things so that the good choices happen automatically, then trust is simply the recognition that you have done what was needed, and the rest can unfold without your constant vigilance. Breathe slowly. Let the worry loosen its grip. There is a way of talking about financial planning that makes it sound like a burden, a continuous effort, a thing you must stay on top of, or it will slip away. And yes, there are moments that require attention. Big decisions, life changes, moments when the system needs a gentle recalibration. But between those moments, there can be a long quiet. A life in which the financial foundations are tended by the system, and you are free to be present in the other parts of your life, the parts that cannot be automated, the conversations, the experiences, the relationships, the work that matters to you, the things that make a life feel full. Money is a tool. It is not the life itself. And when the tool is working quietly in the background, you are freed to attend to the things that are not tools. This is one of the deeper gifts of automation. Not just the money saved, not just the investments that compound, but the attention that returns to you. The mental space that opens up when you are no longer managing the money manually, month by month, decision by decision. You get your attention back, and attention is perhaps the most valuable thing you have. When you lie here at night, you deserve a mind that is not busy calculating. You deserve to let the night be quiet and the numbers run themselves. That is what a well-built financial system offers. Not just a nest egg. Quiet. Let your thoughts drift now, soft and unhurried. There is one more thing worth resting in tonight. When you build an automatic system and step back from it, you are also learning something, perhaps without meaning to. You are learning patience. In a world that asks you to respond immediately to everything, to check, to decide, to react, to optimize, a financial system that runs slowly and invisibly in the background teaches a different rhythm. A rhythm of months and years. A rhythm where growth is measured in seasons, not days. This is a countercultural thing, quietly. Most of the noise around money, the breathless headlines, the urgent advice, The fear that something needs to change right now runs at a much faster pace than wealth actually builds. Real, durable, meaningful financial security is built slowly, over years, over decades, by people who set something in motion and then left it alone. And there is something almost meditative about accepting this. You cannot rush a tree. You cannot hurry compounding by watching it more closely. The only thing that speeds things up is starting earlier. And if you have already started, then time itself is your most powerful ally now. You can put the urgency down. You can breathe. The money is growing in the way that money grows, steadily, quietly, without drama. And your job now is simply not to interfere, to let the defaults do their work, to trust the system you have built. That is enough. That is more than enough. Let the pace of the night teach you the pace of wealth. Slow, patient, inevitable. You have spent some time tonight thinking about something important. Not in a rushed way. Not in a way that will leave you anxious when the lights go out. In a gentle way. In a way that, perhaps, offers a little more peace than you had before. Automating your finances is one of the quieter acts of self-care. It does not ask you to be a different person. It does not require a transformation of character. It simply asks you to design your system once, thoughtfully, with care, and then to let the system carry you. You pay yourself first, and the transfer happens without asking your permission each month. You decide once how much to save, and the saving happens. You arrange for the investment to be funded, and the funding continues. The defaults are set in your favor, and the river flows. And then you live your life, and the financial structure runs beneath it, steady and quiet and undemanding, like the foundation of a well-built house. You do not think about the foundation when you are sitting in the living room. You just live there, and the foundation holds. That is the life available to you. It does not take a windfall. It does not take a sudden change of fortune. It takes one afternoon to set things in motion, and then time and patience, and the simple trust that what you set in motion is still moving. You have done enough for tonight, more than enough. Let the numbers rest. Let the accounts sit quietly in the dark, doing their slow work without you. You do not need to carry this with you into sleep. Let it be here, in the room, settled and still. Close your eyes a little more softly. The system is running. The river is flowing. And you are allowed to simply rest. Good night,